Raffalitos, welcome back to my channel. Today we're on Mandela Avenue and I want to show you what new developments have happened on this road. So the Mandela Avenue project was started during the pandemic to widen Mandela Avenue and create a bypass, a road that routed traffic around the city center so that people driving from the East Coast to the East Bank did not have to go through Georgetown. And the result is a 4-lane highway, basically 2 lanes going south and 2 lanes going north. And right now we're at the start of Mandela Avenue. This is the National Cultural Center, and this is the intersection where they've now placed a traffic light, a set of traffic lights and road markings, and in the opposite direction, in the opposite direction is Sheriff Street. So Sheriff Street becomes Mandela Avenue once you come to this intersection, once you come around that turn. Now they also placed a divider, they built a divider into the center of this road. So before say 2020 there was no divider in the center of Mandela Avenue. So they've widened the road and they've placed a divider in the center of the road. And at the end of Mandela Avenue it becomes, see, there's a roundabout that they built, a roundabout that takes you to the new bypass, East Bank Bypass Road. So we're going to take a look at that as well. But also at the end of Mandela Avenue, the road turns west into what we used to call the back road. That's the National Cultural Center. And over here is what we used to call Durban Backlands, but it's now well developed housing scheme or housing development. Well, what used to be called the back road is now being referred to as Vlissingen Road, or the continuation of Vlissingen Road. So Vlissingen Road turns into Cemetery Road once you go past the cemetery, that is Princess Street. And apparently it becomes Vlissingen Road again by the time you get to the back road, which goes past the industrial park. So we're going to review developments here on Mandela Avenue. Now if you look at where I'm walking right now is a sidewalk. Basically it's slabs of concrete that cover the drainage system. Chinese company was brought in to build these drainage to put in these drains in the road, and this is where we are now. In fact, at several places along both Sheriff Street and Mandela Avenue there are these covered drains, but they also lead into the open drains. Right, this is Hadfield Street going into Durban Backlands. That's Hadfield Street. So, morning. So the Chinese company completed their work putting in the drains, and a number of contractors were responsible for building the road. This is Mandela Avenue, and they've put in this divider where the traffic lights now, where the street lights, the street lamps now sit. Now all these street lamps are supposed to be LED street lights, which means they should be less power hungry. But this is what's happening. Now look at this building. It's clearly leaning. This is a building on the corner of, right, that tall building is on the corner of Durban Street, near the churches. And you can see that building is leaning. I don't know if you can see it. It's leaning to the left in this image. And the reason why is because Georgetown is built on clay. So it's just mud in this part of the country. This is called the clay belt region of the country. And to build a tall building like that, you actually need to put in a foundation. They clearly have not put in the proper foundation. It usually requires you to drive piles into the ground, usually huge trees like twice the length of a lamppost, and you drive them into the ground, closely spaced underneath the building. So it provides a platform foundation. That building clearly did not have a proper foundation, and as a result it's leaning to the left. Eventually it will tip over, probably should be condemned, I don't know. But that's one of the considerations I'm going to address in a series of videos I'm planning for next season, where I will address construction. Construction of a multi-story high-rise building that I'm currently preparing to build on the East Coast. This is Durban Street. Alright, that's Durban Street. It's also used to be one of the busiest streets in Georgetown because it's full of all these residential buildings and businesses. Now it's not as well maintained, and therefore there are alternative routes to get around the city, one of which is the street coming up, Norton Street. Norton Street is now one of the busiest routes, but also it's falling apart. These streets are not properly maintained, so anyway guys, this is where we are on Mandela Avenue. It's about 6:30, 6:45 on a Thursday morning, Thursday the 22nd. That's Norton Street, now one of the busiest streets with traffic as far as commuter traffic, minibuses and so on. When it's maintained, it usually is one of the faster routes to get around the city. So Mandela Avenue was built into this highway, 2 lanes going south and 2 lanes going north, and now it's supposed to be completed, and that's why I'm taking you on a review of Mandela Avenue. Right now we're approaching Princess Street, and this is where the cemetery begins. If you go west along this street, you'll find eventually this cemetery, the Larry Pintier Cemetery. Here it is, Princess Street. And I guess we're on, see it, but we're on Mandela Avenue. This is now, this district is now Meadowbrook. Right, that's Meadowbrook. It's another residential part of the city. And that's the sports complex, or sports center, that was built, I think, maybe 20 years ago now, 15 years ago now. Anyway, here is where we are on Mandela Avenue. Again, I'm back on these concrete slabs, which is the sidewalk. I'm going to cross over to the other side of the road eventually so that you can see. Now, this used to be government housing. These blue and white buildings is what the Burnham administration built way back in the 70s, 1970s. And this is what used to be called project housing. The blue and white color tells me that it's probably a police officers housing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Those of you who live here can correct me. But back in the 1970s, when there was a project to house the country, they built these developments like Meadowbrook and East Rumveld, West Rumveld, South Rumveld, where the government parceled out lands and built a whole bunch of prefabricated terracotta houses. They all looked exactly the same, and people would buy them and modify them. We'll take a look at some of them because the interesting architecture that evolved from those houses is worth examining. But Mandela Avenue has now become a major artery because it's now the quickest way to get from the east bank of Demerara to the east coast through this new bypass road that was built. So these used to be the houses that were built in the 1970s and 1960s in the what used to be back then the newest housing developments. These long houses were divided up. I think it looked more like British housing at that time. I don't think they were appropriate for Guyana, but morning. That's looking back at Mandela Avenue, where we've come so far. And this is actually new since the last time I was in this neck of the woods. They've built this new gas station next to Sivon's waste management building. In fact, Sivon's waste management building is now shuttered. It was a nice building that was put up at this intersection, and the PP government decided to sue Sivon's because they decided that the building was illegal. Don't know that it's shuttered. I'll take a closer look in a minute. But here is a Shell gas station. So this is a new Shell gas station now being built on Mandela Avenue. Don't know who's building it. And then there is a, what is it? Thai Express, Pizza Hut, Burger King. Almost like a fast food joint that is now built and operational since the last time I was here. Now the Sivon's building seems to be quite operational. It hasn't been closed. Maybe they settled with the government or something. Right, that's the Sivon's Waste Management. It's a guy that runs a company that does garbage collection in the city and waste disposal. But this is new. So this is a new fast food joint, Burger King, Thai Express and Pizza Pizza Hut. Gotta come and check them out sometime, and that's new. That's a gas station, new Shell gas station. The Shell gas station has not yet been completed. They're still building it, so you can see the pumps have not yet been installed. The gas pumps, gasoline pumps have not yet been installed, but the gas shade has been built. Even the sign, the Shell sign is still wrapped in plastic. So that's pretty new. That's still being built, and this is new since the last time I was here on Mandela Avenue. This building has been built. That's the church that was there, so the last time I was here. So last time I was here was probably about a year ago, maybe less, 6 months ago. Check the videos in my uploaded the videos. Check the list of my uploaded videos, and you'll see, in fact, the last time I made a video about Mandela Avenue, or simply do a search for it, Raffle Nation, Mandela Avenue, something like that. So this church, as I recall, is not a Catholic church. It's one of the Protestants. Let's see if we can determine which denomination. There it is. That's a sign. Church of the Nazarene. I don't know, I think it might be a Nazarene church. Anyway, there is another gas station. I'm going to cross over the road now so that I can take a look. Yeah, man. At the other gas station. Now this gas station was here the last time I was here. This has become a dangerous highway because of the high-speed traffic. Lots of accidents. Also phone snatchers and so on, so you have to be careful when you're in this neck of the woods. That's looking towards west. Rumvelt. That's the new gas station, KFC. So the last time I was in this neck of the woods, that KFC building, KFC fast food joint was already there. And this is a Rubis. So that's KFC. And the Rubis gas station. The Rubis brand is a Trinidadian gas company that was brought here, I think, in the early 2000s. Wasn't here in the 90s when I left Guyana, so it's a kind of fairly recent entry to the gasoline business. But that's a Rubis gas station and KFC. There's some construction going on behind it, and this is apparently a transportation company that runs buses. It has buses in this route, tour buses. Still on Mandela Avenue, we're heading towards the... So that's a Rubis gas station. We're heading towards the roundabout, the new traffic circle that they built to take you off of the streets, that is the surface streets in Georgetown, and bypass the city center if you're traveling to the East Bank. So we're going to take a look at the finished traffic circle as well as the new bypass road. Here we are. Last time I was here, there had been an accident that had to be, it caused some damage to this barrier, and then they repaired it, and now there's a tire leaning against it. Apparently this turn has been one that's difficult to negotiate for drivers. This is looking towards the end of Mandela Avenue. We're coming to the end of Mandela Avenue. That's the East La Penitence Police Station. East La Penitence Police Station is across the street. I don't know if you can see the sign, looking into the sun. But the way the police stations are laid out here in the city is that each police station is assigned a district with boundaries, and East La Penitence Police Station is responsible for all traffic control and crime and so on in this part of the city, which is now known as East La Penitence. Alright, that's east and west. So Mandela Avenue has now been completed. This bridge was still under construction, I think, the last time I was here. Bridge over this canal. Now the canals are meant to be reservoirs for water when it rains, but the canals have all become silted, filled in with silt, so now when it rains the water simply sits on the land and floods. So one of the ways to get rid of the flooding in Georgia would be to really dredge these canals and make them deep again so they can hold a larger capacity. But of course that brings the danger of children drowning. If you have these deep canals in the heart of the city, a lot of these children end up drowning because they don't know how to swim, and they either fall in or go into the canal to swim and get drowned. So that would have to be coupled with some kind of swimming program. You'd have to teach children to swim routinely from very early so that they don't end up drowning in these deep canals when you start to dredge them. Here we are on Mandela Avenue, heading towards this traffic circle. We're almost there. We're about the vicinity of the multilateral school. This building was destroyed by fire during the pandemic. It seems as if they've removed the part of the building that was destroyed. It was a two-story building, but they haven't rebuilt it. So they took down the building that was destroyed by fire, but they haven't yet rebuilt it. So the school is now, I think, reduced in building capacity by about half. Let's see if you can see the name of the school on that building. Right, that's it. It's the North Rheinveld Multilateral School. Like I said, it was destroyed by fire during 2020, I think, and has not yet been rebuilt. Here we are, Mandela Avenue. This, I believe, is another school. Two schools opposite each other. These multilateral schools were built in the 1970s, early 70s, by the Burnham administration. I think there were 6 of them. And the current vice president, Mr. Jagdeo, is an alumnus of one of these. Very good schools when they were built. In fact, they were some of the best equipped schools, built on a Canadian model. Right, these schools were built on a Canadian model. I attended one of them when I was a kid too, around 10 years old, in New Amsterdam. And they were really well run and well equipped. They had the best science labs in the country, and they should really bring that back, because they were basically science oriented schools. They had the best chemistry labs and physics labs, better in fact than Bishop's and Queen's College at the time, until eventually I think they built President's College, the Burnham administration then, back in the 1980s, 1990s, built President's College. Anyway, here we are now at the roundabout. The bypass has been completed. We're going to take a walk onto the bypass. We're not going to go too far, maybe a few hundred meters onto the bypass, so that we can take a look at what it looks like now after it's completed. But the last time I was here, this roundabout was not yet completed, had not yet been completed. This is the end of Mandela Avenue, so looking back in the direction we came from. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you.
So this is Mandela Avenue looking back in the direction we came from. This is the roundabout, so it's the end of Mandela Avenue. And here is where it goes left and becomes what is called the back road. And last time I was here, I was saying it's kind of confusing how they laid out this traffic circle, but now it seems to be functioning fine. This is the back road. It's what we used to call the back road. And here you can see the road now splits, giving you a chance to turn onto the traffic circle. This is the traffic circle, or roundabout. That's the famous eagle. We'll take a closer look at it. It looks like a bird that has seen its better days. Famous eagle. So this is the famous eagle. A bird that has seen its better days. I think it probably should be taken down and replaced with something. And that's a sign. It says Government of Guyana, Ministry of Housing and Water, Central Housing and Planning Authority. This plaque was unveiled in commemoration of the commissioning of the Mandela to Eccles 4-lane highway by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, on this day, 14th of April 2022, for the benefit of the people of Guyana. And this is the 4-lane highway to which the plaque refers. So this is supposed to be the new 4-lane highway that bypasses Georgetown. We're going to take a little walk up this highway a little bit so that we can see some of its attributes. Right now, just waiting for a break in traffic so we can cross. Proper break in the traffic will allow us to. This is what it means, though. People. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. People don't know how to use these traffic circles, so it's kind of dangerous because there's a certain degree of lawlessness, but also because it's confusing, right? So here is a intersection that's coming out of Ramvelt, South Ramvelt Gardens, right? As the sign says, that's South Ramvelt Gardens. That's South Ramvelt Gardens, and this part of the road has been cut off. There's really no way for you to get onto the highway from that side street. You can only exit, although it remains a two-way road. But this is where we are, guys. This is on the bypass, what is now referred to as the Eccles bypass road. And as you can see, the divider has been completed, and it now contains all of these street lights, a long line of street lights, and it's now a popular route and fast route to get out of the city. However, it's quite dangerous for pedestrians, as you can imagine. There are no traffic, there are no crossing bridges. So to be able to get from one side of the road to the next, you kind of have to negotiate this traffic, which could be moving at high speed. This is the Eccles bypass, and people seem to think that it's a license to go as fast as they can, overtaking. That's looking back at sign says Tuckville. Looking back at Mandela Avenue and Tuckville. This is also 1970s housing. I think people still live in them, but that used to be government housing, project housing back in the 1970s and 1980s. This is the new Eccles bypass road. Just gonna go a couple of blocks on it so that you could get a feel for it. It just extends from the back road where we are now to Eccles, from the traffic circle to Eccles, which means it's a couple of miles